Hello and welcome to Real Chat with Kat, the podcast dedicated to igniting your entrepreneurial spirit and empowering you to conquer new horizons. In this podcast, we chat with inspiring entrepreneurs on their journey to success through some amazingly insightful and expansive conversations. These episodes thrive on thought-provoking chats where our guests fearlessly explore their path to success, sharing their experiences, failures, and triumphs. No topic is off limits as we deep dive into the talked about and not so talked about pieces it takes to build a business, overcome limiting beliefs, deal with personal struggles, and everything in between that shapes our lives and our businesses. I'm your host, Kat Polsinelli, creator and founder at The Lotus Effect, where we believe that success is not just about strategies and tactics, it's about cultivating a powerful mindset and creating customized business operations that align with you and your true purpose. Whether it's mastering time management, improving productivity, enhancing leadership skills, or simply fostering a growth-oriented mindset, we'll provide you with the tools and strategies to flourish in both your business and personal life. I'm so excited to have you join us today in this episode, so get ready to feel empowered and inspired as we learn together and from one another on how to rise above challenges, break through limitations, and unlock our full potential. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so excited to have you with us during this episode and my amazing guest, Miss Mara Whitener. Miss Mara, thank you so much for being a guest on today's podcast. Do us all a favor, tell us who you are, what it is that you do, and what got you into it.
Well, thank you very much for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. But like you said, I'm Mara Whitener. I am a business problem-solving strategist and a fractional COO. And in short, I help all those creative, visionary female business owners out there really create aligned structures to surround them, including an aligned team. So you can build your vision quicker and easier and not feel trapped by your business, because after all, that's not why we started our business. I've had over 20 years of experience in business, and over 15 of those I've been an entrepreneur. So I've experienced most anything you can experience as an entrepreneur, including severe burnout. And it was actually that experience that led me into what I am doing now. It's not something I ever want to see anyone else go through, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, but I specialize in helping entrepreneurs hopefully avoid that and really pursue what they wanted to build without the overwork and the burnout and the things that could come with it.
Yeah, I love that so much. Now, you said that, you experienced the burnout, and that's kind of what led you into what you're doing now. So can you give the audience a little bit of insight on that? Because I know so many people do this, right? They get into the entrepreneurial world, they think that they know what they're doing, or they think this is what they're supposed to do, and then they burn out and they think that they're a failure. I did this when I first started my business, and then realized that, like you can just transition it. So can you share your story on that piece?
I can, and I'll try to keep it kind of brief. I was given, I decided to leave corporate and become an entrepreneur, and really embarked on a journey of, okay, what do I really want to do? And I tried several different things, and I've built several successful 6- and 7-figure businesses. Very happy doing it, but I don't think I had quite found my calling yet. And sometimes you find it in the least expected places. But the last business I built grew so quickly that I had competitors and other businesses reaching out saying, how are you doing it? How are you keeping it all together? Because I was an entrepreneur for a long time, well into 6 figures before I had a team. And they were, how are you doing it? We're struggling over here trying to keep all the pieces going. And the person that I am, who loves to help people, like, sure, I'll help you. So running my own business and helping them as well. And it was in that process that I burned myself out. I was trying to do all of the things and then help all of these other people achieve their dreams and put the right tools and team in place for them. And
Yeah.
I kind of had to make a choice. I mean, it was severe burnout. Like if you looked up the textbook version of burnout, my picture was there. Probably still there. I mean, you can try it. But yeah, it's not an experience anyone should ever have to go through, whether you are in corporate or work for somebody, or you choose to work for yourself. And so I had to do a little bit of soul searching and make a tough choice. And I ended up landing on following my heart I found my true calling, what I've done my entire career, everywhere I have been. I have optimized back end operations. It's all I've done in everything that I've pursued. And so I actually found someone to sell my business to and made her dreams come true. It was her dream to own a boutique. And so we were able to help facilitate that. And I embarked on my mission to help as many women-owned businesses as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Really put the things around them that help them work the best in the way that they want to work and achieve the vision and this big picture that they're trying to put together. I kind of equate it to a puzzle. It's like you've got this big vision and this thing you want to create, and there's this picture, right? But like not all the
Yep.
pieces together. Some are being smashed in the wrong place. And so I enjoy trying to help others put those pieces together so they can get back to what they enjoy doing.
I love that. And a lot of people I don't think realize, you always hear the saying in the entrepreneurial world of like, you shouldn't do it alone or shouldn't have to do it alone, or trying to do it alone is going to make it 10 times harder. But I think that a lot of people, especially coming from the corporate background, or as a woman, sorry guys, and I know there are some guys this fits with too, but for most women, we are so used to people pleasing and doing things for everyone anyway, that we always feel like, oh, I can just run it all. Like that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I've always done. Funny enough, like my husband and I just had this conversation, because even though I'm in the process of building my business and everything, and he still works his corporate job, we had a conversation about me establishing more boundaries in the home life, because he's like, if I call him at work and I am telling you something, you're real quick to be like, oh, I can do that for you. That's my fault, right? He's like, you've got to stop. He's like, because then I'm thinking that you have the time and you're not doing that much. And I'm like, well, no, I'm just like creating the time or pushing things to the side. And he's like, you've got to stop doing that, right? And I know that that's a lot harder with people that might have like younger children. I'm very blessed. My boys are 18 and 15. So it's a lot easier for me to be like, hey, mom's busy, unless you're dying, don't bother me. Right?
Exactly.
But I think that it goes back to that. And you even said it in your journey as well, like just wanting to help everyone. And that's that nurturing piece as well, which, some men have naturally in them, but we do tend to push more to that people pleasing side and let those boundaries down, because we feel like we are the people to help.
Exactly. And that's why I focus primarily with women.
Mm-hmm.
That exact fact. Doesn't mean I won't work with you men. But you said it perfectly. We are everything for everyone as women. We're mothers, we're sisters, we're wives and partners, we're caregivers. We tend to be everything for everyone. And it's very hard for us to put in boundaries, especially when it comes to family, our kids. There's a societal pressure that we're less of a person, we're less of a mother, we're less of a woman if we can't juggle all the balls and do them well and have a smile on our face 24/7 and never break down. And I don't like those societal pressures. Like, we are humans as well. And I think it's even more important for us as women to really focus on putting in the boundaries and the structures and the people, because we can't do it alone, that help us create not only the business vision, but the life vision. So there's people that I've worked with, including a current client, her goal is to set it up because she's getting ready to start a family. So she wants to be able to take, time with her newborn and still have her
Yeah.
business function. She wants to be able to create that schedule that she can take the time with her kids and enjoy that. That's part of the reason she started her own business. So we're
Mm-hmm.
working to set it up ahead of time in preparation so that she doesn't feel pressured to, after 2 weeks, wait, I got to get back. I can't take time off. And then
Yeah.
I have others that are, it's less of a lifestyle and they have a bigger like business vision. They want to travel and be remote entrepreneur and just have big, money and business visions. And that's great too.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that picture is you're trying to build, you can't do it alone. And it's okay. You're drop
Yeah.
that. It is really okay. And I'll keep your secret safe. It's really okay that you don't own. I do a lot of trainings on this that you'll hinder growing and building what you want to do if you don't learn to accept help or put in the boundaries or put in what is right for you. That doesn't mean it's right for everybody. That's
Yeah.
also there's a lot of comparison. You fall in that comparison trap. Well, she has this and she's doing that. Well, her kids may be 15 and 18 and not 3 and 5.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to put in something different for you. Maybe that's not the life you want. It's okay to be different and it's okay to do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm extremely passionate, if you can't tell, about really just embracing doing business your way and not every.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that too, because for some reason, and it always fascinates me, like there's like this invisible book that somehow everybody has read, but no one can find where it's at, that like has all of these rules and ways that we're supposed to do things. It's really interesting, like how ingrained it is. And I'm always like, where did it come from? Right. And I know some of it is, your upbringing or just the belief systems that you were around and the things that you heard, but it's really interesting to see like universally, like across the globe, this is a thing, right? And I agree with you 100% on having people in your business as well, because not only are you stretching yourself extremely thin, there are certain things within your business that you're not that great at. And because you want to get it done yourself, you end up wasting so much time, which honestly is costing you money because you don't want to hire out or because you don't want to share with someone what is messed up in your business or what needs to be taken care of. And that is something that I have really learned in this podcast and working with other people and talking with other entrepreneurs is you really want to get to a place to where you can focus in your zone of genius, right? Versus trying to do everything else. And I can give you a perfect example. When I first started out, I was like, oh, I have to have a website, right? Again, that book that no one has that everybody knows about. And so I like freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, no one's going to think I'm a professional. No one's going to be able to find me. And so my husband created me one. And then down the road, I was like, well, I need to update it, right? I'm not a website builder and I am not creative in that motion. It took me like 6 hours to put my website together. And I still don't think it explained things exactly how I wanted to, but at the time I didn't have the money. And instead of reaching out to other people to ask for help and figure out ways around that, I was like, I'll just do it. I could have hired someone. Like I'm working with someone right now. She's like, oh my God, I love building websites. And I'm like, man. So ultimately, like if you really think about it, you're almost depriving other people from being able to do what they love because you are so stuck in holding on to every single piece that honestly doesn't match up with you. And you're causing more stress in your life when you could be helping people better in the pieces you love and giving them all of your energy and then allowing someone else to do what they do best. So you're giving them an opportunity to grow as well.
And I love that you bring that up. In fact, I have an entire workshop and training on that fact alone of how do we put the right people in the right places to build our vision and create this safety net that we don't feel trapped and beholden to our business 24/7 and allow and allow you to be in your zone of genius, which is what you went into business to do anyway.
Yeah.
But it blows some people's mind that I'm like, all of this talk, you see posts, you see courses, you see mindset coaches, you see everyone talking about, you've got to get in your zone of genius. You've got to get in your zone of genius. You've got to get in your zone of genius. And when you do, man, the magic happens, right? But guess what happens when you put your entire team and everyone helping you in their zone of genius?
Yeah.
Mind blown magic.
Yeah.
It's an entirely new atmosphere that you can't even imagine. I mean, things just flow. You can work and collaborate with your team, and it feels easy and it feels fun and it feels exciting. You can not hesitate to go on a vacation because you're like, they've got me.
Yeah. Yeah.
If something happens, they've got me.
Yeah. And that's, to me, I think that's the best feeling in the world is knowing that you have people that you can lean on so that you can still build the business and the life of your dreams, right? Because from my understanding, most of us that got into entrepreneurship did not get in so we could work 16, 70 hours a week on our business. Now, while there are times where I'm working late because I'm just like really into whatever I'm doing, that is a choice I made. It's not an I have to, right? And I've seen so many people that have commented about that are like, oh, I'd rather work, 60 hours for myself versus an employee. And I'm like, or an employer. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. The whole goal of working for yourself is so that you can get some of your time back so you don't have to work that many hours, right? And I know some people that, again, like you said, different areas of their life and different stages, and they actually enjoy being enveloped in that, right? And that's great. But for a lot of us, that's not what we're looking for. That's not the type of freedom that we are searching for. We are looking for a business that we love that doesn't drain us, but one that does give us the flexibility to be able to spend time with our spouse or our family or our kids, or to be able to travel.
Mm-hmm. It's so important to learn how to reach out for the right help. The other issue I see with that is, okay, it's great. We can all say, okay, put the right people in the right places and reach out for help. Well, then we face another issue. How in the world do I sort through all of the noise and figure out, the right help for me? So, I see people that it's, okay, my sales are down. Like, it must be what I'm doing with sales. I need to go do this, or I'm going to buy this sales course, and I'm going to work with this sales coach. And they go for all the shiny objects that promise the $10,000 months in 3 months, and I'll help you get to 6 figures in 6 months, or you can have 5,000 within 5 days. Like, all of these promises that they may work for some people, but that might not be what's for you. And before I know it, by the time I'm working with them, they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars either on coaching programs or trainings or things that, while it might address part of the issue, they weren't real clear on what the actual issue was to begin with. So I'm sure you've run where you get in, part of what I like to do is actually go in and diagnose the issue first.
Yeah.
And then we can go, okay, this is what we need to put in place, right? Rather than put this and this and this and this and this. And half of it may not be what you need to put into place. Like, it ends up being more complicated and a lot more money. When you can actually save money by taking a little bit of time and or getting help by sorting through all those pieces, because it's not easy. It's hard to be objective when you are the owner. And this is your baby, this is your life, and everything you put blood, sweat, and tears into. So it's hard to be objective sometimes, but really taking the time to actually diagnose the issue over and over. I work with folks that we pull back the layers, and it gets a little more interesting as to where the root of that issue actually lies, because you could have sales issues and it's really a team issue. Like, your sales strategy, your marketing strategy is great, but you've got some workflow and team issues in the back end.
Yep.
You could have, a sales issue, but it's actually a marketing thing, or it's a system thing. And it's not always easy to put the pieces together and actually figure out what is right for you. And it's so difficult for people to sort through the noise sometimes.
Yeah.
Because out there and there's a lot of promises and they all sound great and they all sound like it's right for me. And I run across so many people, like, I'm tired of trainings. I'm tired
Yeah.
of coaching sessions and courses, and I just want answers. I want to move on and figure it out.
Yeah.
But there is help, and there is help to even figure out the right help.
Yeah.
You have to reach out for it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what's so funny is when you were saying about, a lot of people when they are marketing their systems and things like that, they are putting out those big signs, right? Of, oh, you make $10,000. And I immediately went to, if you think of any of the commercials that you've ever seen for like weight loss or some type of sales, if you ever look in the very bottom corner in teeny tiny writing, it says not typical results, like for 1%, like it literally is there. It's just, entrepreneurs do what they want. And I'm not knocking anyone that is promoting that way, but I do want people to understand that, yes, like you said, while there is definitely a possibility, it may be that coach has had that happen 1 or 2 times. And so that's the reason why they're blasting it, because they wholeheartedly believe that this can work. But again, you do have to understand how you work and how you perform. And if you are listening to someone or you're hearing their training and you're like, well, I mean, yeah, you might want to take a step back for a second, right? Because their perspective may not align with the way that you already do things. It's just like if you go into a workshop where someone is like very bullet pointed and like quick and to the point, and you are someone that's like, I really want you to explain it to me. You are probably not going to get that much out of that course because that person doesn't have time for that, right? They want to get to the points. They expect people to know and understand and then like move on to the next one, right? So like that's not your person, and that's okay. That's why there's so many people out there that are coaches and entrepreneurs and everything else, right? Because we get to teach from our own perspective, and the 7-8 billion people in the friggin' world, we get to figure out who we align with. And I think that is a really big one that a lot of people don't pay attention to. I mean, even I did it when I first got into the business and decided to open my coaching and stuff up outside of real estate agents. I was like, oh my God, but I've done mostly real estate. Why would anybody listen to me? Why would they pay attention? And then I realized, like you were saying, you start to kind of figure out how you want your business to run. And if you can kind of take those things apart, you really can be like, oh yeah, that's not for me. Right. And it will save you a lot of headache and being able to ask for help. And I think that is something that a lot of people get stuck on as well, is not wanting to ask for help for the fear and the guilt behind there, or the shame of, well, they're probably doing better than me. And then they're going to be like, ew, I can't, right? Okay, everybody, everyone had to start at the bottom. There are not that many people that just had tens of thousands of dollars sitting around and was like, I'm going to build a business and I'm going to hire a team and I'm going to hire marketing and they're going to take care. And it just like shot off. It doesn't work that way. Now, you do have some people that have forgot that journey, that may have a little bit more of an ego behind them. And that's fine, that that's them. But don't let your own fears get in the way of you saying, hey, I'm really struggling with this and I'm not that great at it, but you seem to be really good. Like, could you give me some tips, some pointers, point me in the right direction? Like, you would be amazed how many people are actually really open and willing to be like, oh my God, yeah, sure, let me sit down with you. Oh yeah, no, I have this. I've had people share spreadsheets with me. I've had people send me their application forms for things that I'm wanting to do. Like, people are a lot more open to giving you because they know what that journey is like than what we actually understand.
Yes. Yeah, and the earlier you can be open to help, and earlier you can adopt the fact that the solution is not always sales and marketing help.
Mm-hmm.
It really, business functions from the ground up, and I call the ground like your foundation, like how everything's going to roll is your operations. If you're just starting out and you're a solopreneur, you hear this and you're like, okay, great, but I am the only person. Like, what is it you want me to look at? But it's really setting yourself up, and it's even more important when it's just you, before you bring on any help, to like set it up in a way that works for you. And I've had more and more here recently embrace that earlier on in their journey. Kind of the aha moments that I have in the middle where you uncover, and it's, well, I'm going to partner with it. All sound things, by the way, like I'm going to partner with this person, and I've got this in place, and I've got this in place, and I've got this in place, and this, and we've got all these pieces, and they're all great, and they're starting to get some traction and get some success, so they're seeing where this could take them, and blow their mind and say, okay, we're just going to focus on that. That's all we need to focus on right there. That's it. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, how much time did that just save in your day? Just focus on this one. You're good.
Yep.
And it's really embracing that sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
Earlier you can adopt that, the better. But listen, I have fallen in that trap like multiple times. I've built several businesses, and every single time I fall in the trap. It's very, very easy. There is no shame. You're not a failure. You're not, like, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't, there is time to change things. And like you said, not everyone has tens of thousands of dollars just to go in and here's my team, and they're going to do and tomorrow. And, they've got this. Guarantee you walk in a room with any entrepreneurs, and 9, if not 10 out of 10 are going to raise their hands if you ask them directly, have they been in this exact spot?
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you talked about keeping it simple, because that is like my favorite conversation. But it is so true. Like, I'm working with someone now that has amazing ideas and has a really great way of seeing into the future exactly how they kind of want things to be laid out. And because of that, they are so stuck in like the process of like, okay, well then how am I going to get there? I'm like, okay, well, let's take it like 5 steps back, because if we don't work on this piece first and get it understood and set up, this is not going to matter, right? Like, you're trying to lay it out way too far in advance. And I get that for some people, great, that's the way your brain works. And if you're able to do a complete layout and outline all of your stuff and do it step by step, fantastic, you are amazing. But for most of us, we do have to break it up. You do have to section it. You have to take smaller bites. And then what I have found really interesting, and I'm sure you have as well, is when you kind of start diving into like one little piece, it's like things kind of start to trickle and start kind of fixing themselves the way they should. Or if it is the problem, it presents itself a lot easier than you having to spend so much time digging to figure it out.
Exactly. You run across it all of the time when you're dealing with anything when it comes to running your business. It's kind of, I say it's like, it feels like the unsexy part of business. Like, everyone's like, like, this is sales, this is marketing, this is going to bring me money, and I'm going to do all of the things. Well, guess what? If you don't pay attention to the rest, or you don't like it, or you don't understand it, or whatever it is that makes you not look at it or want to look at it, that can actually hold you back a hell of a lot more than not having the right sales strategy or not having the right marketing strategy. And you run across people that it's, okay, I want this fixed. Like, there's got to be a system and these workflows. Okay, we're going to put this in and it's going to fix it all. Yes and no. It's probably it. And like you said, it kind of trickles, and then the real problems or the other underlying issues all of a sudden become very obvious. And so I try to preface things with, okay, this is going to address this part of things, but here is what you're probably going to notice after we do. be prepared for this, and this. And even operations or running your business, you can automate it. You can put in all the things in the world to make things, very streamlined and very cut and dry. But business still isn't cut and dry. So you have to be able to pivot in running your business as you do in anything else. So, like you said, for your client that's very planned out and is kind of stuck in the process, you got to learn to pivot. Like, you may come back and focus on this one section that you've got to work on, and then figure out, oh, well, that next step needs to be tweaked a little, or for this overall plan to happen. It's kind of a fluid process.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I agree with you 100% of that. You have to have ebb and flow within your business, because things can change, things can shift. And for a lot of people as well, I do feel like there's this other piece of like, oh, well, I have to have, like you were saying, all these systems and all these tools, and it's going to cost all this money, and I don't have that. You don't have to. I mean, you can start extremely simple within your business and then grow with it as your business grows. There are simple automation tools that you can put templates in your Gmail. That already itself saves you 10 minutes of typing out an email and trying to say the right thing and just putting the sender's information and clicking send. Like, that already saves you 5 to 10 minutes every time you go to send an email. Right? Simple things like that do not cost. That is something that comes with it, right? Using a calendar so that you can have your tasks embedded in it or reminders in there. That doesn't cost. Those are things that you can use to prioritize things in your business. And I don't think that a lot of people do see that, because there are so many people out there selling these products, and you need all these things in order to get more people. I felt, I was like, I do not have that kind of money to get started. Like, I have to start very simple. I was very blessed having a medical administration background, and I dug into a lot of things that had to save the medical practice money, right? And try to figure things out. But a lot of people are not taught that, because unfortunately, I do feel like in order for a lot of coaches and people to make their money, they are selling products, so they are looking to put people in like their systems and their, box of stuff. And I love that you and I both do this operational piece where we can ebb and flow with people where they are at in their business and project where they can go, right? And if it doesn't align at this moment, great, here's a tool to check out later. Maybe we make a goal for in 6 months, as your business hits XYZ, now we're going to implement this piece.
Exactly. And it's always my advice from, especially those starting out, and you find they focus on, I've got to have a logo and a brand and a website. And, you referred to it earlier, and like all of the things. And that's very important. Sometimes it can be even more important, even if someone's eyes glaze over when you just talked about there's templates in Gmail, and you can embed your tasks and go, oh my God, but that just stresses me out even thinking about that. It's okay. There's people that have done it. There's other entrepreneurs. If you network with other entrepreneurs, probably a lot of them will probably just help you out for free. Like, a lot of entrepreneurs are really, really helpful to each other, just to help you get started. And my advice is always actually focus operationally on your business. Don't get stuck in it. Like, because you've got to make sales to get it going. But if you just take a little bit of time to like learn that or set it up a little bit, everything that you stack on top of that, sales and marketing wise, is important. Instead of getting stuck, I have to have the brand. I need to go get a designer. I need to go have a website. I need to put a few tools in place operationally. They're going to let you function well. And then go start talking to people. Like, it can be as simple and as cheap as that. It does not have to get super complicated.
Yep. And I love that you brought that up too, because I've worked with a couple of branding people and a couple of marketers as well, because I was that person coming out of corporate, right? And my husband said the same thing, like, you got to have a brand, you got to have a logo, you got to have a website, you got to have all these things set up. And I have heard the same thing from every marketer and branding person I have talked to. They are like, no, you don't do that first. But it makes so much sense, because when you're first starting out in your business, and this is, I'm sure you ask these questions as well, we're always asking people, like, who is your avatar? Who is your ideal client? Well, when you're first starting out in your business, unless it's something you've already been doing in the corporate world, and like maybe you're going out on your own, you don't necessarily know exactly who that person is. You might have an idea, probably a very broad generalized idea of like, I help all entrepreneurs, or I help everyone in sales. I did the same thing. But once you start getting into your business, like you were saying, and you start getting the strategies and you start kind of working with people, you also start figuring out who you actually want to work with and who you don't want to work with and who you can send to other places. So FYI, referral partners are fantastic. Just saying.
And FYI, it can be people that do similar things to what you do.
Yes.
Different way to go about it. But quite frankly, like, that's been a lifeblood in things that I've done. I'm like, but that's not like fully my cup of tea. Like, I know what my cup of tea is. Like, I know who I'm going to be happy to bring on and who I'm not. But guess what? I have someone to still match you with.
Yep.
You know? Yeah, those referral partners are important.
Yeah. And I think that's even more powerful to have that in your business in the beginning, because not only does it allow you to not people please as much, to start strengthening your own boundaries, you also start quickly realizing who it is you do want to work with and who you don't. And most referral partners are willing to do some type of percentage if someone signs up because you sent them. If you want to make mailbox money, that's the best way to do it. Find friends, find people that do the similar things, just like you said, because everybody has a different perspective. And someone may not teach the way that I do. I'm very direct. I'm very, let's get to the point. Let's do this. This is how we do it. I can still love on you, but only for a short time, right? It just is what it is. Whereas, there are other people that may enjoy nurturing a lot more and walking them through it a little bit more and really holding their hand. I'm more of that, like, just here, hand it to me. Let me do it. It's going to take me 5 minutes. Does this look good? Great. Okay, let's move on to the next one, right? And that's okay. But I realize that. And so having people that do something very similar to what I do, but fit their perspective a lot better, ultimately what you're doing is, one, you're not operating in a place of scarcity, and two, you are actually providing a ton of value to that person because you respect them enough to help them build their business the right way, not the way that it fits you.
Yeah, because otherwise then you're not going to be happy, because right off they're not your, I'm gonna quote my coach, your chicken soup for the soul client, which I love.
Oh, I love that.
I know, isn't it great?
I love that.
That she uses all the time, but it's really like there's chicken soup for the soul clients, the ones that like warm your heart and you want to clone. And when you're just starting out, you don't really know who they are yet. You'll figure it out pretty darn quickly. It'll help you put in those boundaries. But if you have, like you said, you may come across someone that wants a little more nurturing and hand holding, and that may not be your style, but someone over here that you ran across and have gotten to know, they can serve them well, and they're going to be a little more hand holding and nurturing and all of that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a great match.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I love to do that. I love to refer people. And I know that sounds crazy. And some people will look at me and go, what, but why wouldn't you want the business? I said, because it's not right for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, yeah. And you're not operating in your zone of genius. Now you're having to go outside of it to match somebody else to try and make it work, when really you're just like grinding metal against metal.
Yes. I love it. It's an awful thought, but yes. but it is true. It's just like, this is not well.
It is.
You're going to be able to serve them in the best way that they need to be served, and it's going to be almost be more of a chore for you. And so, yeah, I will. I happily refer. to those that are more suited. And I run across people, and the power of no, I don't know if everyone understands it until they've learned it, like how powerful that word is, and the boundary that you create and the standard that you set for yourself. Absolutely huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it creates a realm of respect as well. You know, I did that a lot even when I was in real estate, and I knew that I didn't know everything, right? Especially being brand new. And I use this story a lot, but you know, when I was meeting with certain clients, if they had questions that I was like, oh my God, I have no clue, instead of like freaking out, right, or being like, oh yeah, it's probably this, and trying to be that know-it-all, which by the way does not get you as much respect as you think, people, just FYI. When you can come across confidently and say, you know what, that is a great question, I actually do not have the answer to it, but let me do some digging, let me ask a couple of people, and that way I can get you the right answer. I do that with my coaching clients. I have clients that have used certain tools and things that I'm like, you know what, I kind of know about that, but not like, can I do a little bit, let me do a little bit of digging, then we'll touch base on it and I'll have better answers for you and we can move on. I am all for that, because again, you are providing them the utmost respect and value by giving them the truth versus trying to put this blindfold over their eyes, because guess what? Most people are going to see through it and they're going to be like, she doesn't have a god darn clue what she is doing. Like, what just happened? Like, it's just not worth it. It's like people that cheat. I don't know how you all keep all your stories straight when you got all these different people on the side. I can't keep the truth straight sometimes, I forget.
Exactly. It feels like a whole lot more work to try to lie than just to I mean, I don't know your answer, but I'm going to go find out. Like, that's the best I can do for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that for anyone that does that.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, it's the key is, no matter what stage you are in business, like, reach out for help, like ask questions, network with other entrepreneurs. Chances are all of them or some of them have been in the exact same boat you're in.
Yeah.
Let you know what worked for them, can give you some tips and advice in the right direction. And if you're still feeling lost, really reach out to someone that's going to sit down and help you figure out the direction. You know, it doesn't, you never have to feel obligated to stay in the murky place of, if I just spend an extra 4 hours tonight and I know I'll miss putting my kids to bed, like it'll be better tomorrow because I'll just feel more caught up.
Yep.
Never happens.
It does not.
Never happens. I mean, it's going to be a perpetual cycle, and it's so easy to fall into, because you start with that and you're like, oh, this is just a one-off, you know,
Yeah.
it's a season, and the season turns into weeks, and the weeks turn into months, and next thing you know, this isn't quite a season anymore.
Yeah.
Don't let it turn into that. You don't have to be that trapped and beholden. Like, there are better ways to do things, and it doesn't have to be the same way your best friend down the road that has the same business does it.
Yep.
Like, you're a different person.
Yep. And that's another really great point as well, that I try to put out there to people when I'm having conversations as well. And I even tell my coaching clients this: the advice I'm about to give you, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Because my perspective is my perspective, and some of it may not fit for you. And that is totally okay. That's how you build things on your own. And I had a mentor that did that to me when I was going through some healing stuff and really working on some inner works things. And that was like the most beautiful part of working with her, was every time we had a conversation where we had to kind of dig in deep, she would tell me that if this resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. But it was such an opening space for me to be able to accept what worked for me, versus feeling like, and I feel like we get stuck in this, we feel like we need to accept somebody else's belief because we're like, oh, they're going to feel bad if I don't listen to it. right? And it's like, no, that's all in your head. That's that's all in your head. I promise, been there, done. It's all in your head. The more that you can really listen to what someone says and stand in that power of, you know what, like, okay, that piece made sense. Like, I kind of like that. I don't know about this one. And just letting that go. Don't ponder on it. Don't be like, maybe can I make it work? Just let it go. Like literally off the table, sweep it under the rug, it's done. And focus on only what resonates with you. You do start to build an inner power of really understanding where you stand and where you come from. And believe it or not, that feeling so bad because you didn't take somebody else's advice exactly how they wanted it actually starts to kind of dissipate. I still get it every once in a while. I'm like, oh, that was really good. But I have gotten to the point where I'm like, I absolutely love that. That is a wonderful idea. I don't think that that really matches with the way that I do things, but that is fantastic. Like, I want to share that with other people. I am to that point to be able to say that. And that takes a little bit to get to that point.
It does. And it's hard to, if you're not fully clear on who your ideal client is and the direction that you're heading, it makes it even harder to kind of through those details. And I have found, and this is just one of many tools, but one thing you can do is try to do some work. I use human design. It's it's increased in popularity, but it's using my human design really allowed me to get deeper in touch with where my intuition comes from. So my intuition is truly a gut feel. I know people say like, follow your gut. Doesn't work for everybody. Truly, not everybody is made like that, but mine happens to be a gut feel. And so I would feel into it like, what did my intuition, my gut just tell me about this? And if there's like a nagging, like just kind of some kind of hold up, I won't pursue. And in the end, it's made all of the difference in helping discern and get in touch with truly your intuition and what you're supposed to do and the direction you're supposed to head. So I recommend, doing some work, whether you want to, look into human design, or if you want to look into other programs and tests and things that will help get you in touch with your intuition and how to follow and identify what resonates with you, because it's hard to discern sometimes what resonates with you or what you think resonates with you.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Head of you're like, oh yeah, that resonates. Well, it doesn't really resonate. It resonates with the thought you had that it could work, and you've seen Joe down the street and it works.
The logical brain.
Your brain kicks in, and while your brain is powerful and it helps us do what we do, and it can get in the way a little bit.
Oh yeah, 100%. Boy, my logical brain and we fight all the time, let me tell you. And I love that you brought up human design too, because that is an interesting piece as well, because I looked into my human design too. I am a gut feeler as well. And I have what they call an open ajna, or an open crown. So I have tons of ideas. What I realize is not all those ideas are meant for me. And I've learned to be okay with that, instead of before I was like, oh, but what if I'm supposed to do this? And what if I'm supposed to do that? By the way, to anybody that's out here listening, I have a lady that does human design for business, and her episode is released. So you should check it out. But Mara, I would love to continue talking with you. And I definitely think that you and I should do a part 2 on what it looks like to have a team, having them in the right places. Like, I really would love to dive into that with you. So heads up, everybody, because there's probably going to be a part 2 for this one, in working in your zone of genius, but with your team. But, before I let you go, something I always ask all of my guests is, do you happen to have a quote or piece of advice you would like to leave the audience with today?
My piece of advice is not a particular quote. I have mine that I go by, but find a quote or affirmations. I believe in really lifting yourself up and doing a daily affirmation. You are enough. You are worth it. You deserve it. No matter what society is telling you, anyone else is telling you, and following the ebbs and flows of your business.
Yeah.
In yourself and trust in yourself, and you can do this.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that is so true. And I love that. I love the affirmations. I that was one of the areas I started with. So I sincerely appreciate that one. So Mara, then tell us before we end, where can everybody find you? How can they connect with you? How can they be in your world?
I would love for everyone to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's primarily where I live. So you can find me on there at Mara Whitener. I drop a lot of little tidbits of information and some articles and lots of tips and tricks and things. You can also check me out on my website. It's whitenerpros.com.
I love that. And of course, all that information will be in the show notes so that you guys can connect with her and be in her world. I do follow her on LinkedIn, so I see her tips, which are awesome, by the way. So Mara, thank you so much again for being a guest today and all of the amazing advice and stuff that you brought to the table, and being in your zone of genius. I absolutely love that piece.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And
Yes.
look forward to being back and talking all things teams. Hint, there's human design involved in this one too, potentially.
Yay! Ooh, I'm excited. So to everybody out there, I hope you guys got some amazing takeaways and you were taking notes on this one. And remember that your business can be a lot simpler than you think it is. And if not, find someone that can help you with it. And to everybody else that's out there, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today. And until next time, don't forget, do one thing positive for someone each and every day and see the difference that it makes in your life. So until next time, have a fantastic day. Hello again, and thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today. If you enjoyed this episode and it brought tons of value, we ask that you please share, like, and subscribe. Your support means the world to us and helps us to reach even more inspiring entrepreneurs who can benefit from these powerful conversations. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, as this feedback is an amazing gift that fuels our growth and helps us to continually improve this podcast. Looking for an extra dose of inspiration and empowerment? Then be sure to connect with me on social media. You can find me at The Lotus Effect, where I share valuable resources and tips while sharing my own journey of being an entrepreneur. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching programs and services, be sure to check out my website at the-lotus-effect.com. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of Real Chat with Kat. Your presence and support makes all the difference. Remember, whether you find yourself in the depths of the mud or on the path of growth, we all have a unique journey. And just like the lotus, some of us start in the dirtiest of mud, yet as we rise and grow, we blossom into something beautiful, unique, and truly one of a kind. To all of my visionaries out there, keep rising and growing as you create your own Lotus Effect.